Hello everybody and welcome. Jeff Davis coming at you live here. This week we're going to be learning how to play Man on the Moon by the band R.E.M, which is mostly a beginner song with a few exceptions that kind of push it up to the intermediate level, which you'll see in just a few minutes. But before we jump into everything, if you end up liking this video and you want to see more content from us in the future, please be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment below, and of course don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of the content we have coming up into the future. Without further ado, let's get going. All right, welcome back. Today we're going to be learning Man on the Moon. This is going to be a bit of a longer video. This is more of an upper level beginner. Is that even a term? I would say it's somewhat intermediate, mostly because of the strumming patterns. Now, some of the main objectives for this lesson are going to be comfortable switching chords. We have a fancy C chord in here. It's known as a D11, or I've seen it C with a D in the bass. Also, we have other chords. Of course, you already know some of these chords, the A minor, the G, the D, and then this also makes it more intermediate. There's a B minor chord. But I'm going to be showing you an alternate way of playing that, so you do not have to play the B minor. You can play a D chord instead, and I'll explain why. We're going to be learning about skip strumming today. So skip strumming is also known as what's called syncopated strumming. It's kind of an interesting way of playing. A lot of students struggle with this, but the idea is there's going to be one part of the pattern where we're going to skip playing and we're going to keep the arm moving, all right? And also the concept of open string strumming, which is a really huge, massive trick that a lot of players do that they don't talk about. When I say open string strumming, we'll get into that later. You'll see what I mean. But without further ado, let's get going. So the very first part of this song, let's go over the chords. The chords for this song are going to be the C chord, which is your typical C chord. First finger on the second string, first fret, second finger on the fourth string, second fret, third finger on the third fret, fifth string. Wow, I said that fast. And then the next chord is going to be a fancy C chord. When I say fancy C chord, as I mentioned earlier, some people call this chord a C chord with a D in the bass. But all you're doing is essentially taking the C chord and moving it up 2 frets. So you're taking the C and you're moving it up to here. This is the chord that kind of gives it a kind of a spacey Man on the Moon type of feel. And the other chords involved would be the A minor chord, which you know as being second finger on the fourth string, second fret, third finger on the third string, second fret, first finger on the second string, first fret. And then there's a G, which you know is the traditional G, not the alternate G. Second finger on the sixth string, third fret, first finger on the fifth string, second fret, third finger on the first string, third fret. And then moving right along, there is the basic typical D chord, which you've all known for a while. Right? First finger on the third string, second fret, third finger on the second string, third fret, second finger on the first string, second fret. And then here we go with the challenge chord, B minor. Yes, this is an upper level beginner chord, if that's even a term, but it's definitely a challenging chord because of the amount of strength it takes to not only hold it, or I should say dexterity in the hand, but to keep it ringing, right? And then the last chord is going to be an E minor chord, which is going to be played with the second finger on the second finger, fifth string, second fret, third finger, fourth string, second fret. Now, there isn't another way you could play this with the first and the second finger. I'll let you choose what you want to do. All right, so let's get moving through this. The very first part of this you can see on your screen right now. For the intro and the verse of the song, you're going to be playing the C chord right here, moving it up to the fancy C chord, which is going to be the same chord moved up 2 frets higher. So it would be the third finger on the fifth string, fifth fret, second finger on the fourth string, fourth fret, first finger on the second string, third fret. So that's really what's going on in the verse and also the introduction. Let me play it for you first. That's how it sounds. Going over it very, very slowly, let's just talk about the left hand. It's going to be this, and then keep the pressure down on the hand while you move up to 2 frets higher. Now this is where it can get tricky because the fingers, as you start to move up the neck, they start wanting to do this, you know. So keep them pressed down. Maybe use the back of your maybe use your arm here and pull back on the neck a little bit to kind of keep the pressure going. So that was a good thing to practice at first. Just practice switching between the two. All right, now the strum pattern in this is going to be the same throughout the entire song for the most part. Let's talk about that. The strum pattern, looking at the right hand, is going to be what I like to call skip strumming. Skip strumming just means that we're going to keep the arm moving but skip one of the actual beats. We're not going to play it. We're going to keep the hand moving, but we're not going to play it. So the way we're going to count this is 1, 2, and. So if I count the actual numbers and the beats, it sounds like this. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and we're in the meter of 4, right? So which one are we skipping? The 3. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And I recommend, as in all my videos, I recommend that you just spend a little bit of time working with the right hand, and that is just spend time counting it out, and it is important to count so you know where you're at within the pattern. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and so remember, keep that arm moving. The tendency is to want to do this. 1, 2, and then freeze when you get to that spot. A lot of students get hung up about that, but the idea is keep the arm moving and count the number of beats and the downs and the ups. What is that again? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and totally worth the time to spend time working on that, all right? So going through the verse slowly, it's going to go with the C chord with the D in the bass, back to the C. Now there's a total of 4 measures. The pattern goes 4 times, and it goes like this. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and switch. 2, and 3, and 4, and back to C for 2 more measures. That's how it works. So that is the intro and the verse. They're both the exact same part. Let's get into the pre-chorus. So the pre-chorus is going to use the 3 chords we've already gone over. I should say, is there 3 chords? There's more than 3 chords. A minor, G, A minor, G, A minor, G, C, D, and then D again. So work on that first. Spend a little time just practicing switching the chords. And it's going to be the exact same strum pattern, the skip pattern that we use for the intro and the verse, but there's a new trick I want to show you today. I don't hear a lot of teachers and a lot of players talking about this, but there's a really interesting way to get from chord to chord. It's really difficult when we're switching chords to go like this and immediately switch. People just don't play. That's not how we play. We don't play that way. What a lot of players do is the very last up strum of the pattern. What's the pattern again? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So from here on out, I'll refer to it as the and of 4. That's going to be open strings. Watch how I do this. I'm going to take it slow. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. See how I did that? I'll speed it up. So I'm only doing that over the first couple chords in the song, but you can see that the very last, the and of 4, the very, very last upstrung of the pattern, I'm just playing open strings. Why am I doing that? That gives me time to switch. So watch, I'll play it slow. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and all open strings. I'm just going to freeze for a second. See what I'm doing with my fingers? I'm preparing for that chord to jump right into the chord. By the way, at this point, you should not be assembling chords anymore. You should not be going A minor to G. Hold on a second. Let me build it one finger. That's a beginner thing. That's not for you. You're beyond that now. So we want to use that last open string strum to give us time to switch the chord, make the shape in the air, and land on the chord. That's essentially what open string strumming is. Makes a huge difference. Takes a lot of tension off of your mind and also your playing to know that a lot of these players are kind of cheating. It's built into the sound. You don't even really hear it. So let me play the full verse up to speed. I said first, I meant chorus, pre-chorus. So correction, I did say verse initially, I meant pre-chorus. This is the pre-chorus part of the song. Now, did you notice what happens there on the fifth measure in the pre-chorus? We switch from a G to a C chord. Essentially, the pattern gets cut in half. There's no skip strumming here. It's just down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down. Then we go back to the pattern. Okay, so I did still use open string strumming there. I just put it in the middle of the pattern. So basically, open string strum will always be used whenever the very last strum that you're going to play before you switch chords, that's going to be open string. All right, let's move on. So getting into the chorus of the song, it gets a little bit trickier in the chorus because we have what's called a B minor chord in this part, right? So we have the G chord. I'm just playing through the chords here. The A minor, C. Here we go with the B minor. And then G, A minor, D. So if you notice what happens here, there's less time between the chords. Typically choruses will do that. There's less space between the chords. It's a little more active than it's been up to this point. So we're going to be using the down, down, up for each chord. How do we count that, by the way? Well, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Notice I'm still counting. I'm still using that number. Number 4, up to number 4, to give myself a sense of where I'm at within the pattern. So it will be down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. On measure 4, we're going to go back to the pattern that we first learned. Down, down, up, the skip strumming. All right? So playing through that really up to speed will sound like this. So that's the chorus of the song. Now there is a way to make this a little bit easier. If you're still struggling to get into that B minor chord, I'm going to give you a suggestion. So take a look at the screen here. I want to show you the difference between B minor and D major is only one note. The B minor chord has 3 notes, B, D, F sharp. The D major chord has a D, F sharp, and A. So interestingly enough, the D chord sounds exactly like the B minor, except for it's omitting one note and adding one note. It's missing the B note and adding an A note. But they're so similar that sometimes you'll see one replaced for the other, and it does work in this case. So let me play it for you with substituting the B minor chord with the D chord. I'll play it full speed. So if the B minor chord is still a bit of a challenge for you, just know you can swap it out with a D chord, and if you play along with the actual song, you're not even going to hear the difference, really. If it's just you playing by yourself, most people probably won't even notice either. But if you're playing with a band, typically the bass player will play that low note, and if you play the D chord, together you're making a B minor chord. So that's how the chorus works. Let's move on to the bridge. So the bridge part of the song, bridges are usually contrasting. This is going to be a little bit more contrasting than either part in terms of what's going on with the chord in regards to the chords. But let's talk about the strum pattern. Exactly the same. Down, down, up, down, up. Counting with numbers. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. All right? Same, exact same strum, but with the 2 chords, E minor, which is second finger, third finger down. We talked about that one earlier. And then D. So it just switches between E minor and D the whole time. So take a look at the screen. I'll play it through slow. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. So that's all it really is. The whole song is a great song to learn if you're an emerging beginning player. Even if you are a beginning player, it will still work. But the concepts in this that are make it a little bit tricky would be this fancy C chord moving up, or the fancy C chord, which is a C chord moving up to the 5th fret on the intro and the verse. Skip strumming, right? Where you're just skipping one of the downs, one of the ups. And what else? The open string strumming, which is another new concept for you. So I recommend taking these objectives that I have here, the main learning objectives, separating them from everything that you're doing in this and working on them first, and then next combining them into the song. Also, everything that I've shown you here is identical to what you're going to see on the line if you look up a chord in lyric charts. I recommend that you do that as well. Don't play along with the song just yet. It's probably going to be a bit too fast for you. But I would recommend practicing this until you feel really comfortable with the skip strumming and also comfortable with the open string strumming, and then give it a shot along with the actual song. So thank you for tuning in today. Today was not a two-part series, but just a one-fits-all video of learning how to play the entire song, intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and also the bridge of Man on the Moon by R.E.M. Hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you next time.